friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to really briefly talk to you about what your pre-workout meal should look like. So I just got home from work, I wanna go for a run, and let me tell you, I am ravenous. I can feel the carbs that my body needs. And I was sitting here as I was making my pre-workout waffles. About you guys, I was thinking about how pre-workout food and nutrition is kind of a doozy for many people and they don't really know what to do with this. And so I'm about to crush these 2 waffles as my pre-workout meal. And to be honest, it's probably not even the most ideal because it's about 35 grams of carbs, which isn't bad, but 8 grams of fat and 2 grams of protein. Ideally, I wanted to crush a bowl of cereal, but Regis is currently at the grocery store getting me more cereal because he ate it all. So it got me thinking about what you guys should be eating as a pre-workout meal and what I recommend. So generally what we want in a pre-workout meal is something that is going to be carb and protein heavy. We kind of want to make sure we're keeping our fat intake below that 10 grams or whatever's tolerable to your GI or what you can digest and manage during your exercise, and also minimizing fiber before your workout. And so the reason for this is that proteins are important for muscle recovery, repair, synthesis, and we want those to be already kind of in our system before we start our workout to begin with, especially if you're doing resistance training and you're breaking it down and trying to build that back up, but also even endurance. Your body is still using protein to recover from those endurance activities as well as carbohydrates. Carbs are going to fuel the activity that you're doing that day. We use carbs and we wanna have that readily available not only in our storage, in our liver and our muscles, which comes from your kind of your daily intake and your intake across the days, across the week, but also carbohydrate readily available within your bloodstream and or recently digested. So you have that to pull from to fuel and sustain that activity as well. There is my waffles. So with that being said, I'm gonna eat these waffles here today and maybe something with a little bit of protein to get me going, but mostly carbs are going to be the most important source for that pre-workout. Now, we do wanna have protein, but protein across the day is going to be more important than anything else. So what I'll probably do is eat something small that has protein in it just to boost that a little bit, but I did eat a meal a few hours ago. So I'm training in the evening, which means I've had probably 2.5 meals in me by now. So this is kind of just a carbohydrate pick-me-up so I have enough energy to fuel me during my run. So when it comes to your pre-workout meals as well, I'm putting a tiny bit of butter on my waffles, but like I said, we want to reduce the fat intake of that. And why is that? So fat is slower to digest. It can slow down the digestion in your GI tract, and that can do 2 things. One, it can impair how quickly carbohydrates are available in your bloodstream, but 2, it can cause GI discomfort and distress. And especially because I'm going for a run, I don't think that I want to have GI discomfort because your blood flow is moving away from your stomach during that, so it would be even worse during that physical activity. And carbs are really easy to digest. Protein's a little bit harder to break down, but it's all right. That's why we want to put a space between our pre-workout meal, snack, and our actual physical activity we're going to engage in. But it kind of depends on the activity you're doing. So since I am going to be doing a run, I don't want a ton of, I'm not gonna eat a really high protein, high fat meal, even though these waffles have a little more fat in them than I'd like typically, because I just want those carbs to kind of get me through my workout. But if you're doing something like resistance training where you're not quite doing as high intense, the blood flow isn't moving away from your GI as much, you wanna stay full for a little bit longer, that's when you can play with adding a little bit more fat into that meal just to keep you full, slow that digestion, just making sure that you have adequate protein and carbs in it as well, with some time to digest as well. So when it comes to a pre-workout meal, we can think about it either being just a normal standard meal that you have plenty of time to digest, about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours before your workout. So that way that isn't as big of an issue and you can have a little bit more of fats, protein, carbs, a little bit more filling to make sure that it's well digested before you're engaging in whatever activity you're doing that day. Or if you're like me and you're just doing a quick pick-me-up snack, really just thinking of just carbs or carbs, a little bit of protein, just to kind of give you that little bit extra before engaging in your workout. But like I said, I had just ate a pretty solid meal 2 hours ago, so this is just a small pick-me-up. So when you're eating a bigger meal, like I said, about 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on your own digestion and what feels good to you. For me, I'm gonna eat this little snack, and it is about 4:30, and I'll probably try to aim to run in about an hour here, kind of be out on the road. So when you think about your pre-workout snack, if you're eating something smaller like me here, you wanna eat it more than 30 minutes before your workout, or less than 10, maybe less than than 5. And this is because of the insulin response of your pre-workout. So I usually try to eat like an extra little snack 30 to 60 minutes beforehand if I feel like I've gone too long since my most recent meal and I need a little bit more carbs in me to kind of get me going through my workout. But if I'm going to eat something that's like a strict only carb snack, like an applesauce packet, some fruit snacks, just strict carbs, I'm gonna do that probably less than 5 minutes out, or like on my way walking into the gym or right before my run. That way that is readily available in my bloodstream. But when I start to do activity, that will be uptake by my cells from muscle contractions rather than insulin. So if you kind of have a carb heavy like pre-snack, like a quick snack that's like a really carb only source, and you kind of have it in that like 10 to 20 or less than 30 minutes range, what's happening is you're gonna have an insulin response, which is totally normal, and that's supposed to happen. But what you might have happen because of that is that your blood glucose will drop during the onset of exercise, because you won't only have just insulin bringing that carbs and glucose into the cells, you'll also have your contractions. So you might start to pull too much out of the blood too fast, and then you might not have enough, you might have that hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, and you start to feel that like brain fog or lightheadedness that you get with exercise. So you wanna time that as well. So to summarize that all, wrap it all up, basically you wanna eat a solid meal, 90 minutes to 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours before your workout. Mixed macro, but making it heavy on protein, maybe 20 to 40 grams of protein with adequate carbohydrate. I'm thinking maybe like at least 30, but if not, maybe 60, 90 grams of carbohydrate. I know that seems like a lot, but just based off your activity and the duration that you're going, you want a lot of your carbs in that meal. And then you want to focus on mostly carbs when you get into the shorter, close duration time periods, really close to your workout, maybe 30 minutes or less than 5 minutes before your workout. And that's kind of my quick cheat sheet to your pre-workout nutrition. I am going to eat my waffles, let them digest a little bit since they had a little bit more fat, and then head out for my evening run. So I hope you found that helpful. If you enjoy this, go ahead and hit subscribe, like this video, and let me know in the comments what your favorite pre-workout meal is. Mine is normally not waffles. I'm usually shotgunning an applesauce packet and heading out the door, but I definitely feel like I underate a little bit today, so sometimes it's nice to have a little bit more food in you before you head out and hit the road and or the weights. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.